Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Manpreet. Good morning, Munna, Zaba. Good morning, everyone. We'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes and then we'll be taking up the class. Just 1 second. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Okay, fine. I think let us start with the class. So there are some queries regarding the timetable. There are some minor changes. Instead of history, we are having IR now, and the timetable would be updated, and the details would be provided to you. Fine. So yeah, in the year-long timetable, it was supposed to be history. It has got updated, and the latest version of it you'll be receiving it soon. Yeah, Rohit. Fatima, that's what timetable has got changed. Fine. Okay. So Seema, all your queries got resolved. Fine. Okay. So let us start with the class. Fine. Am I audible, guys? Am I audible? Please confirm. Audible, right? Okay. Dinesh, it is audible, yeah. Okay. Fine. So let us start with the class. We will be taking up IR. So IR classes will go on till I think May 15th or 16th. So there's totally 16 IR classes. Someone had asked the question. Okay. Anshu, you will get it. You'll probably via mail you'll get the updated timetable. Okay, so chala, let us start with the IR class. So before that, I am Bharat. So I have already cleared this examination in say 2019, CSE 2019. I have got the rank. So it's not that I just got a rank. I have also have multiple failures. There were multiple failures, and then I got a rank. And now I'll be taking up IR for this batch over here. So the syllabus for IR. So this is the syllabus. It starts with India and its neighbor relations, bilateral, regional, global grouping, and agreements involving India or affecting India's interest. And the third point is effects of policies and politics of development, developed and developing countries on India's interest and Indian diaspora. This is a separate topic altogether. And the last one is important international institutions, agencies, and fora, their structure and mandate. So, yeah, just 1 second. So this is the syllabus. Okay, and again here, requesting everyone to be very active in the class, and whatever doubts you have, you can post it in the chat box. I'll be resolving to it. And again, 16 classes, we have 16 classes for IR. That's more than sufficient. And I want every one of you to be very, very active, proactive. I don't want this class to be kind of a monologue that I come here, deliver the lecture, and go on. So if you have any doubts regarding anything in IR, just put it in the chat box, and we'll take up those doubts. Fine. So why we should study IR? What's the reason? What's the purpose of studying IR? So this is the syllabus, and this is a part of your GS2. So what's the reason why we should study IR? And before that, how many of you are planning to give your exam in 2024, so that I can tweak the lectures a bit? Or say, how many of you are planning to give in 2025? If you're giving in 24, just put it as 24. If you're giving it 25, put it as 25. Okay, most of you are giving in 25. 25. Okay, very few are giving in 24. Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, so yeah, please tell me, guys, why we should study IR? What's the reason? Do you think IR is important for a UPSC aspirant? What's the reason? Okay, highly complex interdependence, thinking to you. Okay, fine. Okay, 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 fine. So what's the reason why we should study IR? What's the reason, guys? Why we should link it with current affairs heavily, India's relation with others? Okay, changing scenarios. Okay, to be a better IFS officer, because it is in the syllabus. Okay, that is one good. Okay, foreign policies, national global interest. Okay, someone's telling to become a good prime minister. Okay, so we can have, so that we can know our relation with other countries, general awareness, fine, to maintain peace, global order. Okay, fine, all this thing is fine. So fair enough. Okay, to connect with the world, to understand India's international positions. Okay, guys. I think most of you are extremely new to this preparation. That's what I believe with your answers. Did you guys go through this year toppers mark sheet? This year toppers mark sheet. Have anyone gone through this year toppers mark sheet? See, guys, let us be very pragmatic. Even in my initial days of preparation, even I was doing the same thing. That is, we need to study this so that I'll become a good officer, I'll help the country, and so on and so forth. That is there. So that aspect should be secondary. So what is the reason why you have to study IR? The reason is that every year there is 50 marks directly from IR every year out of GS2. So GS2 is for 250 marks. Of this 250 marks, every year we have 50 marks directly from IR question. And IR question is extremely easy. There is no major analytical question as such. So IR questions are extremely easy. If you take up any year paper, say from say 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22 to 23, say question number 9, question number 10, question number 19, question number 20. So these four questions are from IR topics. So question number, say question number 1 to question number 10. So this is for 10 marks, and question number 11 to question number 20, this is for you 15 marks. So question number 9 and 10 is for 10 marks each. So this will be your 20 marks. And this is your question number 19 and 20. This is for 15 marks. So 15 into 2. So this is your 30 marks. So this is 30, this is 20. So totally 50 marks. So every year IR will have 50 marks directly in your GS2. And have you seen this year toppers mark sheet? So you know how many ranks are there in 1 mark? So have you seen how many ranks are there in 1 mark? Please here see please change your orientation of preparation. Early morning at 6 o'clock you're taking up this class. Don't think that I'm after completing this class I will start advising the external affairs minister, or say I'll start advising the ministry of external affairs. That be very practical. You are taking this class at 6 o'clock in the morning because you want to clear this examination. That's the reason, right? Or if you're more interested in getting a lot of knowledge on IR, it is better you join some reputed university. There you'll understand the IR concepts in a better way. You'll get a degree there. In this session, it is all about how do you clear this examination. Trust me guys, in the initial phase of my preparation also, I was also doing the same thing, that I'll read this so that I'll get a lot of knowledge. See, knowledge in UPSC, having knowledge is one aspect. Learning how to get marks is another aspect. Know this fact. Even in the beginning of my preparation, even I was thinking that if we have a lot of knowledge, we'll get good marks. That in reality, that is not the case, guys. Trust me, that is not the case. I have given multiple attempts. I have also cleared this examination. Trust me, that is not the case. So you should have a you should what do I tell? You should cultivate a skill that is going to give you marks. Is it clear? In this examination, everything is about marks, and even 1 mark is very very crucial in this examination. If you see this year paper, or say this year mark sheet, I'm talking about this year, which the result was out in the last 2 weeks ago. So if you see here, so the person who has got rank marks 983, and the person who has got marks 982, the total marks, someone has got 983 and one person has got 982. Do you know how much difference is in the rank? So can someone think? So what's the difference between the person who has got marks 983 and the person who has got 982? How many ranks would be there in between? So the person who has got rank 983 has got 140 rank, and the person who has got rank 982 156. So somewhere around 16 ranks are there in just 1 mark. 1 mark has 16 ranks. And say another example is the person who has got marks 976 and say 975. So this is rank 192, rank 207. Say almost 15 people are there in 1 mark. 15 people are there in 1 mark. There's another example. 969 marks 969 and marks 968. How many people would be there? It's more than 25 people. It's somewhere around 20. Around 20 people. 254 and 275. It's more than, say, somewhere around 21 people are there in 1 mark. So on an average, if you consider, 1 mark will have 6 people. So there is 6 candidates in 1 mark. Is it clear? So you are sitting here in this class. only for marks perspective. The agenda of you sitting in this class is to clear this examination, and what is required to clear this examination is marks. So do this reverse engineering. Don't blindly keep accumulating a lot of content. That doesn't help you guys. I was doing the same mistake in my initial attempts. Focus. If you have to get, say, what is the cutoff in your mains? Have you seen the cutoff marks in your mains? So have you seen? So the cutoff is somewhere around, so for this year the cutoff is for GM, it is somewhere around 740. So let us assume that you have to get, say, somewhere around 770. So if you get 770, that is one of the best score. So how do I get 770? Have you analyzed? So this year, what is a good score in GS2? Have you analyzed? So don't blindly keep accumulating a lot of content. That will not take you anywhere. If you have to clear this examination, you should get, say, somewhere around, say, 760 or say 770 in your mains. How do I get 770? Have you analyzed? From which subject I'll get how many marks? Have you analyzed? If you haven't analyzed, you are not on the right path to clear this examination. Do the reverse engineering. So if I have to get a rank, if I have to be in the, say, top 200, so I should have, say, somewhere around 960, 970. Yeah, even 980 is a big score. So somewhere around 970. How do I get 970? Have you analyzed? If you have to be in the top 200, you should be getting, say, somewhere around 970. Or how do you get it? So that you have to analyze. If you have to clear the mains, you should be getting, say, somewhere around 760, 770. How do I get the 770 marks? You should have a proper strategy. Without this, if you're blindly accumulating a lot of knowledge, it will not work. So again, here in this examination, be very, very brutal towards the marks. Don't see, is your agenda to become a district collector or content collector? So there's two different things. If your agenda is to become a content collector, keep accumulating content. See, writing content, accumulating a lot of content will not guarantee you the marks. Tried and tested. So if that is the case, if someone has a lot of content, if he has to clear this examination, the person who is giving in fifth attempt and the person who is giving in first attempt, the person who is giving a fifth attempt will have more content. Still, this person will not clear. The person who is giving first attempt will not, definitely this person will not have more content than this person, right? Why is this person clearing? This person is clearing because there's a separate skill that is required to get marks. In this class, every day in the morning, you are waking up and taking up this class not to accumulate a lot of content, to clear this examination. To clear this examination, you require marks, and each marks, on an average, there is for 1 mark, on an average there are 6 to 7 people. So I've given you the example. Say the person who has got 983 and the person who has got, say, 982 marks. So the in this just 1 mark, if you get 983, you this year you would be in rank 140. In this year, if you had got 982, you would be in rank 156. This will determine whether you get IAS or IPS. This 1 mark will determine whether you get your home cadre or some very far away different cadre. So 1 mark, each mark counts a lot in this examination, especially in mains. And IR is one subject where you can get good marks. So I have always been getting good marks in my GS2 paper. The reason being, I focus a lot on IR. It's not that we have to do one PhD in IR, not required. Basically, you just need to know how to write one IR answer. That's it. So don't try to become one say the next Jaishankar. Not required. So first you clear this exam and then you can become the next Jaishankar. That's not an issue at all. So first learn how to clear this exam. What is required to clear this exam? Marks. How do I get this marks? I'll teach you in this module. So that the main agenda in this module is that if you're writing, so what's a good marks? So if you're writing an answer for 10 marks, what's considered to be a good marks? No, good marks. So for 10 marks, what is considered to be a good marks? Yeah, 7 is too much here. Yeah, somewhere around 5 to 6. Okay, 50 to 60 percentage is considered to be good marks. Okay, 5 to 6. Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah, Rupam, this is not. Yeah, this UPS is not like college where we get 8 or 9. So it's somewhere around 5 to 6. See, if you are out of 250 marks, if you are getting say 100 plus, you are considered as a that is considered as a good marks. 100 out of 250, you get 100 plus, you are one among the toppers, you are one among the rank holders. Okay, so 100 is just 40 percentage. So it is not that in all the in GS paper there are GS 1 2 3 there are 20 questions. It is not that in all the 20 questions you'll get 50 60% mark. So that's also not possible. So selected questions, say somewhere around 10 to 12 questions, even if you get say 50 60 percentage mark, and remaining questions if you get say 30 40 percentage mark, that is sufficient to cross this 100 mark barrier. So in all the GS 1 2 3 you can easily get 100, provided that you have a good strategy. That's what you have to do it. So in this IR module, let me be very very clear. So I will focus only on marks perspective. So I will be teaching from the marks perspective. So we'll be taking up content and I will be teaching how to write this content. So first I'll explain the content, I'll explain the topic, say for example India Pakistan topic, I'll explain that, and then we'll take up a question and I'll teach you what should be the intro, what should be the conclusion, what has to be the structure. Again guys, there is a standard structure for IR answer. If you're writing one IR answer, if that has to fetch say some 55 to 60, 50 to 60 percentage marks, 50 to 60 percentage marks, there is a standard structure. Is it clear? So in this module I will be very much focused on marks perspective. See, why am I doing this? Personal experience. So you do not require extraordinary content in any subject as such in general studies. You should know how to write that answer, that's it. So in this module we'll be focusing on how to write one IR answer. How many of you are writing answers on daily basis? See guys, let me be very very clear. This exam is all about marks. Be very brutal towards marks. Don't think that I'll acquire a lot of content, मैं ना content collect करके बुद्धा बन जाऊंगा. So all these things will not work over here. So be very brutal towards marks. So you are sitting in this class to know to write how to write one IR answer in such a way that it is going to fetch you 50 60 percentage marks in your mains examination. If you after this class, if you are writing an IR answer, you should know what should be there in the introduction, what should be there in the conclusion, what has to be there, what kind of diagrams or say what kind of maps you have to draw, and what are the keywords that you have to write. Is it clear? So this is the agenda of this class. And then you can tell that I have to study IR because I'll help in making India's foreign policy. ठीक है, do all this foreign policy later on once you clear. So before you clear, you are sitting in, be very very rational guys. मतलब don't be what do I tell? Be very rational towards the marks. This is the biggest mistake that I did in my initial attempt, thinking that I'll acquire a lot of content and that is going to help in my examination. No, it doesn't help. So personal experience, my first mains I read mindlessly. In my first attempt mindlessly I read, and then when I went into the exam hall, I knew the content but I didn't know how to put it in the paper. So that's the reason. So if we have to put the answers in the paper, that is the most difficult task. So it is not about having a lot of content. Anyone can have content, but in the limited time limit. So you should put the content and address the question. That is a challenging aspect. And for that, if you have not prepared a ready-made structure for your IR answers, you cannot do it. So you cannot get say 50 60 percentage marks. If you're not getting, if you don't know how to get 50 60 percentage marks in your IR paper, then there is no point in attending the class also. Just analyze, you are attending this class to clear this examination. What is required to clear this examination? Marks. If you don't know how to get that marks in IR, then what's the point in attending the examination? Just by acquiring a lot of content, what will you do? Maybe it might sound alien for the people who haven't written answers. If you write one answers, you will get to know, despite having hell lot of content, you cannot write one answers if you don't know how to write the answers in a proper structure. Is it clear? Why am I telling this? Personal experience of my friends. Honestly, you acquire a lot of content, it's of no use. And are you guys seeing the toppers copy? So toppers copy, uh, trust me, if you are not seeing the toppers copy, that is one of the biggest mistake you are doing in your life in this preparation. I swear that is one of the biggest mistake you're doing in this examination. uh yeah, toppers copy will give you a lot of things that you have to focus in this examination. How do you get toppers copy? Put the name in the Google and the copier, you'll get it. So matlab, toppers copy in the sense, not the copy they have written in the actual UPSC paper. So toppers copy in the sense, the copy that the topper would have written in their mock test, so that copy. So that is toppers copy. Is it clear? uh, Fine. Okay, so this is your toppers copy. Go through it so you'll get a better understanding as how to write each questions. So if it is IR question, what is the model that is working? See, if this person has cleared this examination, it just shows that this model is working, and UPSC is complete opaque. So which model is working, what is working, no one knows. So the only evidence that we have is that toppers copy. If this person has written like this just 2 or 3 weeks before the examination, there is no way this person, this is rank one's copy this year, this is rank one's copy. If this rank one person has written this answer 2 or 3 weeks before the examination, there is no way this person can change the structure or change the content in 2 or 3 weeks. That's not possible. In fact, in the actual examination hall, what happens is that the quality further goes down, because this is in coaching institute, or so this is a mock test where the stakes are very very low. Since the stakes are very low, there is no much pressure on me, so as a reason I'll write it. In fact, I can take some 5 minutes 10 minutes extra and write it. So this is the best quality that a topper has delivered. And if this person is has written this answer 2 or 3 weeks before the actual mains examination, there is no way this person can change the answer writing structure. So if this person has cleared, it means that this model is working. So if you analyze, say, 5 6 toppers copy, you will get to know that there is one common thing among all the toppers copy. So that common thing will be the element that is going to fetch marks. Are you getting this point? If you are studying IR, take up toppers copy, take up say 5 6 toppers copy, analyze how they are writing IR answers. So it is not that you have to do a PhD in IR. Again, trust me guys, in general studies, the content, what the toppers are writing is very 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 mediocre. There is no extraordinary content. See, trust me, today you haven't started IR topic, right? IR module at all. Today you go and take up this rank one copy, or rank 2, rank 3, whatever, say top 10. So rank 1 to rank 10, take up any of their GS2 papers and just see the IR questions, how they have written the IR questions. Most of it you will be able to understand. Over 90 percentage of this content, whatever this person has written here, you will be able to understand. It shows that there's no extraordinary thing in the paper that a topper writes. So there's nothing extraordinary in this paper. The only thing is that the structure is good, the presentation is good, the keywords, this topper will be using keywords. So in this module, what we'll be doing is that we will be analyzing the topics from the marks perspective. how do I write one answer? And again, in GS paper there are 20 questions, and don't think that I'm going to write the 20 questions on my own. I'll generate the intro, I'll generate the conclusion while sitting in the exam hall. Don't do this foolish thing. I did it, so that doesn't work. So whatever the intro and conclusion that are there, right, most of the even in fact in the initial attempt even I didn't know that. So the intro and conclusion, most of it is kind of memorized. Acha, if this is a IR question, in one of my intro I should use something like Jaishankar's book. So in one of the conclusion I should use say Kautalya. So all this thing has to be pre prepared, or else it is not possible to get say 50-60 percentage marks in IR question. So in this module, let me be very clear. So we will be focusing on how to write one IR answers for each of the topics. So the intro in IR, it is possible to memorize the intro, memorize the conclusion, and what is the structure that we have to write it. Just see, this is the standard, just analyze over here. So, and this is the standard structure for one IR answer, standard structure. So analyze, just take 5-10 seconds and analyze this. Is it fine? So this is the standard structure. Now you analyze, this is topper's copy. So just analyze this. So more or less the same. This is the subheading, intro says some 3 lines. This is say 3 lines, and this is the subheading. So this is the standard. Are you getting this? And example, look at this example. So what has happened is that, so just see this example. This is the example. This year topper has followed this model, triangle, using example and putting a triangle. And who started this? This was started by Shruti Sharma. So Shruti Sharma was in 2022 top. 20 yeah, it was 2022 topper, right? Shruti Sharma. So after Shruti Sharma, if you see all the toppers, and they are started using this model, triangle, putting a triangle around the example. So because presentation, it improves the presentation. If you analyze toppers before Shruti Sharma, no one was using this. So everyone learns from the toppers copy. If you are not utilizing toppers copy, you will not know the trend. So this is rank one's copy. So now consider, this is rank 2, this is rank 2's copy. The same question, this is rank 2 copy. How they have written? The same intro, and here there's a map. So this is the map over here. The same subheading over here. This is the subheading. The same point one. So this is how, see, point one. So all the points. So these points are nothing but keywords. So these are keywords. Strategic alliance is a keyword. So remittance is a keyword. No one is using generic English over here. If you are writing IR answer, it has to be IR keywords. Is it clear? So in this module, yeah, what is the doubt? Yeah, today we have IR classes. There is some changes in the schedule. The history has been rescheduled. Today we have IR classes. Is it fine? Okay, understood. So in this module we will be discussing from the answer writing perspective, and how do we get marks from the UPSC in GS2. Is it clear? Any doubt till here? So if you want, you can take a snapshot of it or write it down. This has to be the structure for IR answer. Let me be very clear. 1 mark in your mains paper in your UPSC is approximately 6 ranks. 1 mark is approximately 6 ranks. Don't be under the impression that I require a lot of content to write any answer, GS answer. Not required. Your basic content is sufficient, but learn how to write one answer. So is it clear? Fine. Fine. Shall I switch the page? This has to be the IR answer model. Good. Okay, fine. See, this is how IR answer should look like. This is the intro. This is the diagram. Don't worry about the content. First, learn one IR answer looks like. So, if you know the structure, yeah, if you know the structure, how to write one IR answer, what we'll be doing is that we'll be taking up the question. So we'll be taking up the topic. We'll analyze the topic, say India-Pakistan relation. We'll analyze the topic and we'll take up one question, and you just need to put the content in this format. That's it. This is what you have to do in IR. Is it clear? And again, if you are not preparing intro, conclusion, and if you are not thorough with the structure of IR, you cannot get, say, 50-60 percentage marks, or say 55-60 percentage marks in your GS, in your IR questions. If you are not able to get, say, 50 or 60 percentage marks, then if you don't know how to get, say, 50-60 percentage marks in IR, it is a failure on your part, it is a failure on my part as well. So the entire agenda, early morning at 6 o'clock, you are taking this class only to clear this exam. In order to clear this exam, you require marks. How do you get marks? You should write the answer in a proper structure. And IR is not, your GS is not some oral examination where you can go and discuss about the issues. You should write in such a way that it is going to impress the evaluator. Is it clear? So this is what you should be doing. Fine. Okay, if you again here in the IR questions are extremely easy. There is no major analytical questions in IR as such. So if you see here, India is an age-old friend of Sri Lanka. Discuss India's roles in the recent crisis in Sri Lanka in the light of the preceding statement. So most of the questions are in IR. It is current affairs based questions. But however, you should know how to write the challenge in IR is that, see, you will be knowing the current affairs because most of you are studying current affairs. The challenge in IR is that you should know how to write one IR answer. That is the challenging part. Here in this module, what we'll be doing is that we will be taking up all the current affairs aspect, everything, every explanation will be taking up. But however, we will see how to use this content and put it in a proper IR answer structure. So that is what we'll be saying. So this is the PYQ, and PYQ it's quite easy. Most of the questions are quite easy. Is it clear? Okay. Now take down the books or the materials that are required. So materials that are required. Okay. The sources for IR. So I will be dictating. So kindly take down sources for IR. The first one is class notes. Class notes. PPT. Next one is PPT. Class PPT. Next one is webinar, IR webinar, IR monthly webinar, IR monthly webinar. Yeah. Next one is Hindu, the Hindu, the Hindu. Fine. So this is more than sufficient. Yeah, this is more than sufficient. And along with this, what you have to do is write at least, say, last, say, 7 to 8 years PYQ. So 8 years, each year there are four questions. Four questions, that is question number 9, 10, 19, 20. Question number 9, 10, 19, 20 in your GS2 is your IR. For the last 7 or 8 years, let us consider 8 years. 8 years, four questions, totally right, 32 IR questions, PYQ, that should be sufficient for IR. PYQ, previous year questions, last 8 year previous year questions. It would be 32 questions. So last 8 year PYQ. So no need of any books, Zaba, as of now. See, IR questions are mostly current affairs based questions. and there's no static book as such. So in IR, what you should do is you should learn how to write an answer. See, content in IR, everyone will have content. Even today, you will know what is happening in Israel Palestine. At least some basic idea you will have, but you should know how to write one IR answer. What is the introduction, what has to be the conclusion, what has to be the structure, uh, all those things, whether you should be whether you should put a world map, India map, etc. Those things you should know. Is it clear? Fine. Okay, so now let us start with the actual topic of the day. Fine. So before that, how many of you have completed this thing, post independence? Post independence. Post independence. Okay. If you have, okay. 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 Fine. Okay. 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 Very few of you have completed. Okay. So then we'll be taking up few aspects from post independence also. And trust me, guys, IR, no, it's extremely easy. It is not that you should write some rocket science answer. You take up this answer, right? So take up this is the rank two's answer. What is extraordinary over here? So now. I'll be giving you the keywords. So what does each keyword mean? If you know the keywords, and again, if you are writing one any answer, GS answers, if you are not highlighting the keyword, look at this answer over here. They are highlighting the keywords, proper keywords: remittance, economy, military, strategic alliance. So all the keywords are properly highlighted. There's a map, and this is rank 2s. So this is rank 1. So let's consider this is rank 1. So all the keywords are highlighted: de-dollarization, so collaboration. So all the keywords are highlighted. So all these things you should know. And if you're preparing seriously, if you ask me what is the biggest mistake I did in my initial attempt, is that not seeing topper's copy and blindly believing that content, through content I'll create my own thing. No, boss, in this examination it doesn't work. The wheel is already invented. You need not reinvent the wheel again. You take a topper's copy, see how they have written, try to write the same thing. So it's something like this. If I ask you to draw an image of Lord Ganesha, so what will you do? If I ask you to draw an image of Lord Ganesha, what will you do? You'll go to a zoo, see, or say you'll go to a forest, see elephant, and draw Lord Ganesha. Or what will you do? What's the easiest way? Take a printout of the image of Lord Ganesha, draw the same thing. No? So if you have to be a topper, don't try to create your own thing. Matlab, the topper's copies are there. Take a printout of that, see to it daily, try to write the same thing. So you'll automatically get good marks. So rather than trying to innovate new things and randomly writing some things, that will not work out in this paper. So what happened in my attempt? So I blindly copied Anudeep sir. So Anudeep sir was a 2017 topper. So what before that I had no idea. So what happened? 2017 topper was Anudeep sir. And in 2018, I saw this rank one Kanish Kataria sir's interview. So in that interview, he told I directly copied from, or say I saw Anudeep sirs and wrote the same answers, matlab similar answers. Then I felt that, boss, why am I not doing it? That's an easy model, right? If you have to write, because before that I had multiple failures in mains. So this did not strike me at all. So then after seeing this Kanish Kataria's interview, then I thought, oh, there's something in this aspect I need to look in. So then I took up to went through Anudeep sir's copy, and what I did in my 2019 attempt was that blindly implemented whatever Anudeep sir had written. So if this is the structure, so just analyze the structures starting from say 2017 onwards. So take up 2017 topper rank one, take up Kanish Kataria, take up 2019 topper, say take up 2020 Shruti Sharma's, Ishita Kishore, and this year's topper. So almost all the topper will follow the similar model. If this is IR question, the same model would be followed. Again, in IR question, drawing a world map or say India map is kind of mandatory. Yeah? If you don't know how to draw a world map or India map, you will lose at least that 1 mark. See here, this is rank 2. So just analyze. This is rank 2's paper. This is rank 2's paper, and this is a standard structure. Rank 1 is also following the similar format, rank 2 is also following the similar format, and almost if you have to be a ranker, you got to follow the similar format, man. So it is not that you have to follow it, but if you follow this format, you are getting a rank. So what does it imply? So if one candidate is following this format, this person is clearing. So we have evidence there. UPSC will not come out and tell that for IR you have to write in this format, for say so and so subject you have to write in this format. No one, UPSC will not come and teach you. So the only evidence that is available is that topper's copy. So how do we know this? So analyze say 5-6 toppers copy for IR answers. So toppers copy in the sense, not the actual UPSC. No, UPSC doesn't give. So UPSC is very opaque. It doesn't give, and UPSC will also not tell how to write one IR answer. The only evidence that we have is that if some candidates are writing in this model, they are clearing. So what is that model? Analyze the toppers copy, say 5-6 toppers copy, you will get it. So see, just analyze what is the difference between, so this is rank 1's copy, this is rank 2's copy. So you take up rank 3's IR answer, it will be almost the same. Rank 4 IR answer, almost the same. So it shows that there's some common element among all the rankers. So it shows that then this common element is working. So what is that common element? The common element is that this intro is more or less memorized, and this conclusion, see, all these conclusions are usually fancy conclusions. So conclusion is not over here. Usually conclusions are fancy conclusion, and most of the conclusions are memorized. And if you tell that, sir, no sir, I can't memorize intro, I can't memorize the conclusion, then this exam is not for you. So see, each mark has 6 rank. So this time, what is it, marks, that is 969 and 968. How many people are there? So it's 21. Yeah, 21 people are there in this 1 mark. If you get say a person getting 969 and 968, 1 mark has 21 people. So if this examination is a race for marks, it's not about race for content. If this exam was a race for content, the person who is giving in the 5th attempt or 6th attempt will definitely have more content than the person who is giving in the first attempt. But this first attempt person is clearing. What's the reason? Because this the first attempt person has focused on how to write one intro, how to write a conclusion, what has to be the structure for each subject. That's it. So again, you take up this year. Classic case is that this year you can take up rank 5 paper. Rank 5 or rank 6, yeah, I'm forgetting that candidate's name. The name is Dabas. The second name is Dabas, DABS. I think rank 5 or rank 6. Just go unless that paper. You'll get to know that with a very limited content, extraordinary structure, extraordinary presentation, clearing the examination. There is if you analyze this rank 5 or rank 6, the BAS paper, there is no extraordinary content in that, but it has a very good structure, good diagrams, good examples, and good intro and conclusion. And this intro and conclusion, most of it is memorized. Initially even I was thinking that no, I can't memorize. Then after multiple failures, I realized that, boss, there is no other way, I have to memorize it. So intro, conclusion should be memorized, should be in the sense we should know, acha, this, if this is IR question, one intro should have Jaishankar, and the next intro should have, say, either Kautalya, or the next intro should have some fancy terms, or say in the conclusion we should have a books, anyone IR book name. So all these things should be there, and you should know how to draw a world map. I think you guys have finished geography, right? So you will be knowing. And if you are writing one answer, just try it out. If you are writing one answer, and here if you draw one map and write the same answer without map, your marks, there would be a difference in marks of minimum zero point 0.5. This rank 2, if you are evaluating this mark, just analyze, just think very practically from the evaluator's perspective. If you are evaluating this paper, this is rank 2's paper, forget about this person is rank 2. If you are evaluating this paper, remove this map and evaluate. If add this map and evaluate, will it give some extra edge? If you draw a map, yes, extra edge will be there, at least zero point 0.5 marks, at least half a mark you will give extra, because this person has added the map. 0.5, 1 mark amounts to sixth rank average, on an average. Say this year there are so many examples that I can give. 1 mark will have 15 people also, or say 20 people also. Say the 969, 968, 21 people are there. 21 people, 1 mark, 21 people. How do I get this 1 mark? I just need to draw some two maps, done. I get that extra 1 mark. So in IR it is possible. If you have to get that additional, say, 5.5, 6 marks, okay, 50, 55, 60 percentage marks, say, be it in your 15 mark or 10 mark question, if your aim is to clear this examination, IR is one topic where in the 50 mark, out of 50 mark, you can easily get, say, somewhere around 55, 60 percentage marks is possible. That's easily possible. So why it's easily possible? Because we know what to write in the intro, we know what to write in the conclusion, what is there in the structure we know, and we know how to draw a map. So, and the questions are not very analytical, and we know what are the keywords. So all these keywords. So yeah, this is the standard format. In this module, what we'll be doing is that we will be taking up the content, and I will be giving you, again here I will be giving you the intro, I will be giving you the conclusion, all the keywords I will be giving you, and the map. I think you have finished geography, you should know how to draw a map. What are the maps that you have to draw, I will be telling. So draw it, that's it. So your IR is done. So you need not unnecessarily, don't run behind the content in IR, not required. So this subject, IR, is a subject where your entire ability to get marks is dependent on the structure of the answer. And whenever you have any doubt, see the reason, what is the purpose you are attending this class. You are attending this class to clear this examination. What is required to clear this examination is marks. In order to clear mains, you require, say, 770. How do I get this 770? Just apply some mind and see how do I get. Or else, if you don't do this, you will again end up wasting a lot of initial attempts, like me. So don't do that. So in the attempt which you focus from marks perspective, in that attempt you will easily clear, because you know, acha, mujhe na, I require 770 in my mains. How do I get, say, 770 plus? So in optional, this is what I'll be getting. In essay, this is what I'll be getting. In ethics, this is what I'll be getting. Say in GS2, this is what I'll be getting. Say in GS2, somewhere I require, say, 100, or say 105 plus. So how do I get this 105 plus? So that is the target. How do I get 100 plus or 105 plus in GS2? Then again decipher. Acha, in IR, every year IR, there is 50 marks that is there in IR. In IR, if I learn the structure, minimum I'll get 50 percentage mark. So that's what you have to analyze. In IR, there is no major analytical question. Structure to it's easy. मुझे तो आता है structure, and almost all the structure is standard. So as a reason, at least out of 50 marks, मुझे ना at least 50% or 60% I'll get it. If I get say 50-60% marks, say somewhere around say 25 to 30 marks, I will already get from IR, just IR. So my aim is 100 plus. So how do I get 100 plus? 25% of my GS2 marks, I already got it in IR. How do I get it? The structure. So how do we come to know that this structure is working? This structure, how do you get to know whether this structure is working or not? The only evidence that is there is that toppers copy. Say top 10 toppers have written the IR answer in the similar structure, so it means that it is working. If it is not working, this person would not be there in rank 1 or say rank 5 or rank 10. So not just this year, so take up say last 3-4 years and see what is the thing that is working. So this is the strategy that you have to follow. Don't blindly collect a lot of content. What will you do? You become expert after completing. There are 16 classes, so there are 16 classes in IR. So what will you do after completing 16? You have become expert in IR, you know each and everything, every relation. So what will you do? If you don't know how to write one IR answer, what is the purpose? Do you think Jaishankar will call you up and ask what we have to do with India US relationship? No, right? Think, be very practical. You are sitting in this class because you need to clear this examination. How do I need to clear this examination? For mains, I should get say some 770 plus. How do I get the 770 or say 780 plus? So that is your challenge. So again, divide that in 770 or 780. This much I can target in my optional, this much I can target in my essay, this much I can target in my ethics. How much should I get in GS2? Say somewhere around 100-110. So 100, this is very good marks in GS2. So 100-110. So how to get this 100 marks or say 110 marks? Again, divide it. So this is what you should be doing here. Is it clear? Yeah, Zaba, it if you draw map, it is good. You will get that advantage. Yeah, Srishti Dabas. I think Srishti Dabas is rank 5, right? Fine. Okay. Yeah, rank 6, rank 5 or rank 6. Yeah, Srishti Dabas. Look at her paper. Fine. So let us start with the topic. So Raida, what is international relation? See, Chandan, IR questions in prelims is usually your map-based current affairs. So that will be doing it later on, and it's current affairs here. So usually map-based. Fine. Okay. So let us start with the actual syllabus. So, right, what is Ananya Reddy? I haven't seen her paper, Dunish. So, right, what is IR? International relation. So, write down this statement. I'll explain this. Just only this statement. Write down only this statement. International relations is a study of the interaction between state and non-state actors in a global system. And please write it down. Do not depend. See, in IR, this is not a content-rich subject. You don't require extraordinary content. You just require some basic content, important keywords, and start writing answers. That is sufficient. Is it clear? So, right, and don't depend a lot on the PPT perspective. Yeah, trust me, been there, done that. You are thinking that I'll collect a lot of PPT when during the examination I'll write it. वो सभी ना, it doesn't work यार. मतलब I have experience collecting a lot of PPT. Later on, I'll scroll through it. I'll go through it. That doesn't work. So write it down. So you need not write extensive notes in IR. Not required. Basically, you just need to know how to write one IR answer. That is the agenda of this program. For different type of question, how do you write one IR answer? That is the agenda. So write on this. Okay, international. What is international relation? International relation is a study of interaction between states. This one has to be with capital S. This is capital S, states. This is capital S, and this is capital S. State. This is capital N. States and non-states actor in the global system. So, what is a state actor? So, what is international relation? So, IR, what does IR mean? So, IR is a study, it is a discipline that studies about the interaction between your state actors and non state actors in the global system. So, what is state actor? So, right on next point, state actor. So, next point is state actor. So, state actor, it is a political organization. State is a political organization with state is a political organization with a centralized government that maintains a monopoly that maintains a monopoly on the legitimate use that maintains a monopoly on the legitimate use of force within a defined territory. Okay, I'll repeat it. A state is a political organization with a centralized government that maintains a monopoly on legitimate use of force with a defined territory. With a defined territory. Okay, so again here, so what is a state? You can consider state is a government entity. It is an entity that has centralized government. Say, for example, we call it as Indian state. State in the sense capital state. So when you write small s, it means that state like say Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, that is small state. That is small s. In the statement, whenever in the newspaper or anywhere you write small s, it means that states, it means provinces like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, etc. When you write a statement with capital S, it means the bigger state as in it is one entity that has a centralized government and maintains a monopoly to use the force. In India, who, or say in any state, who maintains the monopoly to use force? It is always the state monopoly to use the force. So if you have to use force, you should take permission from the state. So if you should have a gun, you cannot have gun in any state. You should take permission from the state. If you can use force, it is only through the permission of state. But state doesn't require any permission. Say if army has to fire a weapon, army need not take anyone's permission. It is a state. If government of India needs to fire any weapon, government of India need not take anyone's permission. Government of India is a state. But if any other person in the state, if any non-state actor has to use force, this non-state actor should take permission from the state, else this act would be illegal. So if you have to use force, it has to be with the permission of the state. But state has a monopoly of force. So what is state? It is one entity with a centralized government that has monopoly on the legitimate use of force within a defined territory. So that is a state. Is it clear? So government, any entity which has a centralized government that has monopoly over the force, that is a state. Fine. So then what is a non-state actor? So what is non-state? So write down next one, write down. Repeat. Okay. A state is a political organization with a centralized government that maintains a monopoly on legitimate use of force within a defined territory. So below this, write down. They are sovereign entities. They are sovereign entities sovereign entities with defined borders. They are sovereign entities with defined borders, comma, government, defined borders, comma, government, and populations. Yeah, force means army or any force, even police force, all these forces. Okay, below this, right on. State engages in diplomacy. State engages in diplomacy. Whenever you write state, please use capital S. We are talking about the state, the bigger state. State engages in diplomacy, comma, makes treaties, makes treaties, and participates in international organizations. And participates in international organization. Fine. Okay. So this is state. So what is non-state actor? Non-state actor. So right, non-state actor are a part of. So non-state actor are not a part of. Participate in international organizations. Participate in international organizations. Am I audible, or am I a bit fast in dictating, or is the speed fine? Please let me know. Is the speed fine or it's fast? Yeah, it's fine. Okay. 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 So fine. Fair enough. Most of you are telling fine. Okay. 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 See, guys, please here, in the examination, you should be writing, say, somewhere around, say, 120, 130 words. So 130 for a 10-mark question. How many words are there? For a 10-mark questions, how many words you should write? Can someone tell for a 10-mark question? 150. Okay, 150. UPSC says 150. Trust me, you cannot write 150. See, take a proper copy. No? Where is 150 words? So here. So this is not 150 words. If you just count, this will not be 150 words. This will be somewhere around 120, 130 words. Okay, so don't worry about the word limit. So yeah, so somewhere around 120, 130 words. So how much time do you get in order to write a 10 marks question? How much time do you get? So you get somewhere around 7 minutes. 7 minutes for 10 mark question, 11 minutes for a 15 mark question. In this 7 minute, why 7 minutes? Totally 180 minutes, right? 180 minutes, 20 questions. So in this 20 questions, 10 questions are for 10 marks and another 10 questions are for 15 marks. This is 15 marks. So for a 10 mark question, you'll get, say, 7 minutes. For a 15 mark question, you'll get 11 minutes. Say 7 into 10 is 70 minutes. 11 into 10 is 110 minutes. So 170 minutes plus 110 minutes, 180 minutes. Is it fine? So for a 10 mark question, you get somewhere around 7 minutes. In this 7 minutes, usually somewhere around 30-40 seconds or up to 1 minute, it goes in you're reading the question, analyzing everything. So 1 minute is for reading. So you get only 60 minutes, 6 minutes to write 120 words. So okay, 120 or say 130 words. Even if you consider 120 words, so it is in 1 minute you should be writing 20 words. So this 20 words by thinking. It is not that I'm dictating and you are passively writing. So don't do that. So writing speed, you have to improve your writing speed. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Don't think that I'm really fast. I'm not fast at all, guys. From UPSC, see, if you're sitting in the class, you should learn some skills that is going to fetch marks. So what is that skill that is going to fetch marks? If you have to write like this, what is that skill? So if you just analyze, take a topper's copy, the content is mediocre in the sense everyone will know, even you will know what is written over there. But why this person has become topper? Because the structure is good, this person is able to complete the paper. So how do you complete the paper? If you have writing skills, say 20 words per minute, if your writing speed is say 20 words per minute, you can complete the paper. If it is anything less than say 20 words, completing paper is quite difficult. Fine, so you should increase your writing speed. Okay, it's okay, fine. So okay, now let us take up the non-state actor. So write down non-state actor. Non-state actors are not a part of non-state actors are not a part of formal government structures, formal government structures, comma, but they can influence, but they can influence the government, they can influence the government activities. Full stop. Examples: NGO, NGO, terrorist groups. Even terrorist groups are also non-state actor. Terrorist groups. UN, United Nations. So these are non-state actors. MNCs, MNC, yeah, MNC. Good, Fatima. MNC. So these are non-state actors. So example, various example, any yeah, BCCI is non-state actor, yeah, anything. So any entity which is not a part of your government but still can influence the government either in positive way or negative way, in whatever way. Say for example, NGO can influence the government in positive way, terrorist can influence the government in a negative way. So in whatever way it can influence, but this should not have any formal connections with the government. So that kind of entities are called as non-state actor. Fine. Okay, got it. So pressure groups, very good, very good. Pressure groups, good. So this is your international relation. So what is IR? IR means it is a study of interaction between states and non-state actors in a global system. So below this write on, IR encompasses IR, IR, IR encompasses diplomacy, conflict resolution. IR encompasses diplomacy, conflict resolution, trade, security, and many more. Trade, security, and many more. Fine, good. Okay, so now let us take up keywords. Keywords. Okay, guys, see, if you have to make notes for IR, okay, if you are writing, someone is asking the email ID. If you are writing any IR answer, please send it to this one, this email ID. I will evaluate it and send it to you. It is bharat.kumar3 at byju's.com. One second. It's Bharat Kumar. Just a second. Let me cross verify. Yeah, it is bharat.kumar3 at byju's.com. So what are the answers? If you're writing regarding IR, please send it. uh, I'll evaluate it again, guys. The agenda of this class is very very clear, that you should be able to get marks. That's it. And don't think that you should have some extraordinary knowledge. Not required. If you, the minute you start equating knowledge with marks, you are going completely wrong. The reason being that, take up topper's copy, there's no extraordinary content there, but it has extraordinary structure, extraordinary presentation, and how to draw diagrams, etc. That's what is driving the UPSC marks. Is it clear? So this is what you have to do. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So now let us start with IR keywords. So write down IR keywords. So first one is diplomacy. Diplomacy. So what is diplomacy? So write down diplomacy. Diplomacy is the art of conducting. Diplomacy is the art of conducting IR, international relations, through negotiation. Diplomacy is the art of conducting IR through negotiations, dialogue, dialogue, and agreements to achieve the objective. Agreements to of a nation achieve the objective of a nation or a group of nations, full stop. It involves representing a country's interest. It involves representing a country's interests abroad, comma, building alliances and resolving conflicts peacefully, and resolving conflicts peacefully peacefully full stop. Example, India Bangladesh diplomatic relations to resolve the land boundary disputes to resolve the land boundary disputes to resolve the land boundary disputes through negotiations, dialogue, and agreement in 2015. Agreement in 2015. Okay. So what is diplomacy? So diplomacy, again, the simple meaning of diplomacy is that it is an art of negotiation with the other country so that we can push our interest and succeed in our interest, so in a peaceful manner. So that is diplomacy. So what happened in 2015? So India and Bangladesh had a land boundary disputes. That is, some of the some of the small islands, and some of the border areas between India and Bangladesh was disputed. So Bangladesh was claiming that land belongs to them, and India was claiming that few lands in Bangladesh belongs to them. So through negotiations discussions, through dialogues, we could resolve the dispute, and finally one agreement was formed that is known as land boundary agreement. We call it as LBA. So land boundary agreement 2015, India Bangladesh land boundary agreement 2015. That is an outcome of diplomacy. So here what did we do here? India tried to push its interest, and Bangladesh tried to push its interest. Through negotiations and discussions, both of them came to one agreement where our interest was also satisfied and Bangladesh's interest was also satisfied. So this is called as diplomacy. Is it here? Negotiation meaning, Stephen, negotiation here. What do you tell? Negotiate. So we negotiate. So you give me so much thing, I'll give you so much thing. So that is negotiation. Fine. Okay, next one, right on. International organization. Next one is International Organization, IO. Not exactly bargain. Yeah, good. Negotiation, bargain. So international organizations, so write down quickly. So it's a formal institutions, formal institutions created by state actor or non-state actor, created by formal institutions created by state actor or non-state actor that operates in multiple countries, that operates in multiple countries, that operates in multiple countries to address various issues, to address various issues. Can someone tell some example of international organization? What is the example of it? Yeah, very good. UN. So right, example UN, WTO, World Trade Organization, UN, WTO, WHO, good. Yeah, IMF, fine. World Bank, so on and so forth, fine. Okay. So next one, write down. Write any two example. Yeah, that's sufficient. So next one, write down soft power. Next keyword is soft power. Okay, so the reason why we are taking up the keyword is that once you have a good command over the keywords, then we will be taking up the actual concept, that is India Pakistan relation, India Sri Lanka relation. So those things there, when you're writing answers, you should be utilizing these words over there. So that's the reason. If you have a good hold over these keywords, so you can apply that while taking up those questions. Fine. So right on soft power. It refers to the nation's ability. Soft power. It refers to the nation's ability to influence others. It refers to a nation's ability to influence others through culture, comma, values, comma, policies, rather than rather than rather than military or economic means, rather than military or economic means. Okay. Okay, so what is soft power? So there's something called as a hard power, there's something called as a soft power. So what is soft power? First, let's understand what is hard power. Hard power means when we if we use say weapons, military to control or say influence any country, that is considered as a hard power. Say for example, US, Russia is a hard power, so it is not a soft power. So Russia uses military weapons on Ukraine to control Ukraine. Russia has enough military equipments to influence Europe. So Russia is not sending any of its soft power. Russia is hard power. So US is kind of hard power. So they have nuclear power. They have a lot of nuclear weapons. They have a lot of very good air force, etc. Because of that, they can influence any other country. They are using force to influence other countries. So that is your hard power. But what is soft power? In soft power, we do not use force. We do not use military might or economic might. So rather than that, we use culture. We use values, we use policies, so that through that we can influence the countries. Say for example, yoga. So yoga is one soft power. So yoga is a culture, yoga is a tradition through which we are influencing the world. We are influencing various countries. Say for example, during COVID, we had a policy of giving vaccines to the other countries. So again, this policies, through this policy, we could influence multiple countries. This policy name was Vaccine Maitri. So through this Vaccine Maitri policy, we could influence various other countries. Did we use military? No. Did we use economic might? No. But we used a policy through to influence other countries. We used yoga to influence other countries. So that is called as soft power. Is it clear? Yeah, Buddhism. Very good, Dikshit. So we use Buddhism to influence the Southeast Asian region, to influence China, to influence Japan, to influence Southeast Asian region. We use Buddhism. So it's very good, Dikshit. Okay. Yeah, anyhow, more or less, China comes under hard power, man. So China doesn't have. Say for example, South Korea. Now South Korea is using its soft power. The what is it? BTS, right? Yeah. Nowadays the BTS is popular. So South Korea is pumping a lot of its content across the world. This is state sponsored. All this BTS and all this South Korea's pop culture, that is a state sponsored. In India, how yoga is state sponsored, that is government is sponsoring yoga to create a soft power. Similarly, in South Korea, government is sponsor, South Korean government is sponsoring all this pop culture to influence various countries using pop culture. Fine. Okay. Food habits, very good. Okay, these are your soft power. Fine. Enough examples. Fine. The next one, write down strategic partnership. Strategic partnership. So write down, it refers to strategic partnership. It refers to a formal, please understand strategic partnership. We will be using a lot of strategic partnership across various countries. Say India, Russia is a strategic partnership. India, Japan as a strategic partnership. Say US is a strategic partner of India. So what is this? What is the meaning of strategic partner? When someone tells that Russia is a strategic partner to India, so Japan is a strategic partner to India, what do you mean by that? So please focus here. So strategic partnership, it refers to a formal and enduring relation. It refers to formal and enduring relation between two or more countries, between two or more countries, between two or more countries, based on based on mutual interests, based on mutual interests, comma, shared value, shared value, shared value, and long-term cooperation, and long-term cooperation, long-term cooperation in various areas, long-term cooperation in various areas such as political, political, comma, economic, security, technological and cultural domains. Example, Russia is a strategic partner. Russia is a strategic partner to India. Russia is a strategic partner to India. Okay, so strategic partner is above partnership. Partnership, in a sense, will be considering for one aspect. Say I and you are a steady partner. Say I and you are optional partner. Say we might have, say, one optional partner, one partner for ethics, or say one partner for essay, or say usually how people will have one steady partner for GS, one steady partner for optional. So these are steady partnership in the sense very few aspects are considered, and only for a limited period. But whereas strategic partnership means it is a holistic approach for a long term. In multiple sectors, we will be inclined towards that country for a long term. So that is called a strategic partnership. So in terms of, say, political support, in terms of economic support, technological support, or say security matters, or say in terms of cultural promotion, in various aspects, we will be aligning with that country for a long term. So those kind of partnership are called as strategic partnership. Are you getting this concept? Say for example, India and Russia is in a strategic partnership for say for various aspects. Say in terms of security, say India and Russia have together developed BrahMos. India and Russia are in a partnership for energy purpose. India and Russia are in a partnership for geopolitics. Whenever any country criticizes India, it is Russia who is going to veto that criticism in UN. So Russia will support India in UN. That is in terms of geopolitics. So that's what it is. Not just one aspect. Say for example, India and Iraq has India and say Venezuela. We have relation only for oil perspective. Apart from that, no major relation. Say India and Nigeria, only for oil perspective we have relationship. But whereas with India and Russia, the relationship is across various sectors. Say in terms of your defense, in terms of technology, in terms of geopolitics, in terms of economy, in terms of energy security, various aspects, not for a short duration but for a long duration. So that is called as your strategic partnership. Strategic partnership is above partnership, where the partnership is in various sectors for a long term or say long duration. So that is your strategic partnership. Is it clear? Fine. Yeah, USA is also a strategic partnership. USA is also strategic partnership. Okay. So next one, right on. Multilateralism. Yes, Zeba, country can use both soft and hard power. Yes. Multilateralism. So write down multilateralism. The practice of conducting multilateralism. So write down. It is the practice of conducting IR, international relation. It is the practice of conducting international relations through international relations through the participation of through the participation of multiple countries through the participation of multiple countries to promote cooperation to promote cooperations, comma, collective problem solving collective problem solving collective problem solving and shared responsibility. Example, shared responsibility. Example, India's role in India's role in the formation of G20. India's role in the formation of G20. Okay, I'll repeat it. Multilateralism, it is a practice of coordinating or conducting international relations through participation of multiple countries to promote cooperation, collective problem solving, and shared responsibilities. Okay, another example you can give it as UNF triple C. UNF triple C. So write down UNF triple C hyphen write down multiple countries multiple countries take efforts to resolve to resolve climate change problems. To resolve climate change problems. Yes, G20 is international organization. Yes. To resolve climate change problems. Fine. So this is your multilateralism. So multilateralism is that it's a type of international relation, IR, where multiple countries come together to solve one common problem. So that is called as your multilateralism. So what has to be bilateralism? In multilateralism, multiple countries come together to solve one issue, or say to promote cooperation. So that is called as your multilateralism. In bilateralism, what happens? Two countries come together to solve one issue. Two countries come together to increase the cooperation and to increase cultural cooperations, etc. So that is called as your bilateralism. So write down next one. Write down bilateralism. Are you guys getting the difference? In multilateralism, multiple countries come together to increase cooperation and help in solving some problems. In bilateralism, two countries come together to increase cooperation between these two countries and solve the problems. So that is your bilateralism. So write down bilateralism. It is a purpose. Bilateralism, the practice of conducting. It is a practice of conducting IR, international relation between two countries. Between two countries. Between two countries. Full stop. This involves direct negotiation. This involves direct negotiations, agreements between two nations. Between two nations. Between two nations. Example, Indo-US nuclear deal. Example, Indo-US nuclear deal. Example, Indo-US nuclear deal. Fine. Okay. So next one, write down balance of power. So after this, we'll take up a break. So after this four keywords, we'll take a break. So write down balance of power. So it's a concept where balance of power. It is a concept where countries. It is a concept where countries try to maintain a relative. Countries try to maintain a relatively equal, where countries try to maintain relatively equal distribution of power. Relatively equal distribution of power among themselves, distribution of power among themselves, balance of power, a concept where countries try to maintain a relatively equal distribution of power among themselves to prevent one country from becoming dominant, to prevent one country from becoming dominant, full stop. This can involve forming alliances or building up militaries. This can involve forming alliances or building up militaries, full stop. Example, india engaging with us India engaging with us and Japan, India engaging with US and Japan to maintain the balance of power, to maintain the balance of power in Asia, to maintain the balance of power in Asia, amidst 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 rising China, amidst rising China. Fine. Rising China. Okay. So see here. So what is balance of power? It is a concept. It is a concept in international relation which says that the efforts will be taken by a group of countries in order to control the rise of any one country that would change the dynamics in the region, that would make this country super dominant in the region. Say for example, in Asia, China is rising, so now the balance of power, now the power is more in Asia, now the power is more or less distributed equally. India is one power in Asia, China is one power in Asia, Japan is one power in Asia region. So these are some of the dominant powers in Asia region. Now what is happening is that China is rising. So if China is, there's a balance of power. Now there's a balance of power. India is powerful, China is powerful, Japan is powerful. There's a balance of power. So now what is happening? China is rising. China's economy is growing. They are increasing their military expenses, etc. So as a reason, the balance of power, now the balance of power is shifting towards China. In Asia, the balance of power is shifting towards the China. So as a reason, what India is doing? India is allying with USA. India is allying with Japan, so that to shift the balance again and make it at a equilibrium. Now the balance is shifting towards China. If India takes US with them, the balance will, there would be balance of power. So that is called as balance of power. Is that clear? Where the countries wants to maintain the relatively equal distribution of power in the region. Now if China becomes super dominant in Asia, so what would happen? Every country has to listen to that entity, China. Say for example, in this region in North America, the balance of power has completely shifted to US. Say Canada listens to America, Mexico listens to America. So the balance of, there is no major balance of power in North America, because US is a super entity, a super powerful entity in North America. There is no balance of power. Canada listens to US, Mexico listens to US, your Caribbean island listens to US, because US is very powerful entity. There is no balance of power. Whereas in Asia, there is balance of power. India is also to some extent powerful entity. China to some extent it's powerful entity, Japan to some extent is powerful entity. There is no superpower in Asia region, but now China is emerging as a superpower. So as a reason, what happens? India is allying with, say, US, India is allying with Japan in order to control the China's rise and ensure there is balance of power in the region. So that is called as balance of power. Fine. So next one, right on. Chandan, occurs quad. So all this yeah, occurs quad. All this we will go in detail. So don't worry about this. Now we are just analyzing the meanings of the keywords. If you are thorough with these keywords, trust me, writing IR answer becomes very easy. Fine. Okay. So now write down convergence of interest. Convergence of interest. So right now, when two or more countries, convergence of interest, when two or more countries share similar goals, when two or more countries share similar goals or objectives, share similar goals or objectives in international forum, or say international forum, or say platform, international platform. This can create this can create opportunities for this can create opportunity for cooperation and joint action. Example, India and Bhutan. Example, India and Bhutan have convergence of interest in controlling the Chinese border disputes, and encroachments, in controlling the Chinese border disputes and encroachments. Fine. So what is this convergence of interest? See, convergence of interest in the sense, say you are one country, I am one country, both of them will have one common goals. So say for example, India and Bhutan have a common goal, that is China is indulging in encroachment, China is purposefully indulging in land border disputes. Both India and Bhutan doesn't want China to encroach the land. Both India and Bhutan doesn't want China to indulge in land border disputes. So this is our convergence of interest. So if we have convergence of interest, that is if our goals are same, we both will work together to achieve that common goal. See, both India and Bhutan doesn't want Chinese encroachment. So India's goal is to avoid Chinese encroachment. Bhutan's goal is to avoid Chinese encroachment. So we have a convergence of interest. This is our interest. Our interest is to avoid Chinese encroachment. Bhutan's interest is to avoid Chinese encroachment. So there is convergence of India's interest with the interest of Bhutan. So as a reason, what happens whenever there is convergence of interest, both the countries tend to work together. If India's interest is to avoid Chinese encroachment, Bhutan's interest is to avoid Chinese encroachment. Now both of the countries' interests are converging. So now both the countries will be working together. So that is your convergence of interest. Fine. Okay, so next one, divergence of interest. Divergence of interest. So write down divergence of interest. When two or more countries, when two or more countries have conflicting goals, when two or more countries have conflicting goals or objectives, conflicting goals or objectives in international forum, in international forum. Example, full stop. This leads to tension and conflict. This leads to tension and conflict. Conflict. Example, India, Pakistan. India, Pakistan's border disputes. India, Pakistan's border disputes in Kashmir. India, Pakistan border disputes in Kashmir. So what is Kashmir's goal here? What is Pakistan's goal? Pakistan's goal is to acquire Kashmir. What is India's goal? India's goal is to retain Kashmir, which is an integral part of India. So Kashmir is an integral part of India. That is India's goal. That is to retain Kashmir, because with this Kashmir is an integral part of India. But what is Pakistan's goal? Pakistan goal is to take Kashmir. So there's a conflict of interest. So our interest is to retain Kashmir with India. Pakistan's interest is to take Kashmir away from India. There is a conflict of interest. So this is called as divergence of interest. My interest is in this side, their interest is in this side. So there is a divergence of interest. So whenever there's a divergence of interest, this leads to tension and conflict. Say for example, Kargil war. Why did Kargil war take place? Kargil war took place because Pakistan wanted to acquire Kashmir, but India did not wanted to give Kashmir, because India's interest is to protect Kashmir and keep it with us. Pakistan's interest is to take Kashmir away from India. So as a reason, what happened? It leads to conflict and tensions. Example, Kargil war. Is it clear? So understood the concept of divergence of interest. Fine. So the last topic, and then we'll take up a break. So global south. So what is a global south? Okay. It is a term referring to, it is a term referring to the developing countries in in Africa, in Africa, Asia, in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, and Latin America, and Latin America. Full stop. These countries, these countries often share, these countries often share common concerns related to poverty, common concerns related to poverty, development, related to poverty, development, and economic inequality, and economic inequality. Okay, so if you consider here in this image, so this is your global south. So global south is the countries that are developing countries. So the common concerns in these countries are, say, poverty, lack of development, or say economic inequality. So these are the main concerns. These are the main concerns in the developing world, or say developing world, or say global south. So then what is global north? Just one line, right down. Global north are the developed countries, developed and industrialized countries. Global north are the developed and industrialized countries. Fine. Global north are the developed and industrialized countries like North America, North America, Europe, Europe, Australia. North America, Europe, Australia. North America, Europe, Australia. Fine. Okay. So we'll take a break. So break is usually for how many minutes? How many minutes, guys? Break is usually for how many minutes? 15 minutes. Okay, fine. 15 minutes. Fine. Okay. Well, that's how, okay. Every day we have 15 minutes break. Okay, okay. Fine. So then we'll start the class at 8:10. Okay, can take a break. Someone had asked what is the global north. So global north means, so these are the countries that are developed, say like your North America, USA, Canada, etc., Europe, Australia. So these are the developed countries. Developing countries, we call them as global south. Fine. Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll start at 8:10. Fine. So welcome back. So we'll be taking up the next topic. So that is your foreign policy. So write down foreign policy. So foreign policy is a nation's strategy. So write down. I'll explain this. So write down. Foreign policy is a nation's strategy and actions. First, we'll understand what foreign policy is, and then we'll further go in detail regarding that. What exactly is the meaning of foreign policy? So, foreign policy is a nation's strategy and actions, nation strategy and actions for dealing with other countries. Nation strategies and actions for dealing with other countries, comma, safeguarding its interests, safeguarding its interests, comma, promoting its values, and addressing global issues in IR. Addressing global issues in IR. Okay, in simple language, foreign policy, consider foreign policy as a policy of a government, as a policy of a state to push its interest across the world. So, to cater to its interest across the world. What can be its interest? It can be interest in terms of, say, economics, that is acquiring a lot of investments, or say it can be interest in terms of, say, resolving border disputes, or say resolving terrorism, or say getting defense equipment, etc. So that can be the interest. So that is, foreign policy is always self-centric. Mostly it is self-centric. That is, foreign policy means it is the efforts of a country, it is the strategy of a country or of a state in order to push its interest, in order to fulfill its interest in various aspects, in terms of your technology, or say economics, in terms of geopolitics, or say in terms of security, etc. So that is called as your foreign policy. So below this, write down instruments to foreign policy. So write down instruments. So this is your understood, right? What is foreign policy? It is a efforts, it is a strategy of a country to push its interest across the world so that its interest gets satisfied. Foreign policy means it is India's efforts, or say India's efforts to fulfill India's interest across the world. So that is called as your foreign policy. So write down instruments in foreign policy. So first one, write down diplomacy, instruments in foreign policy. First one, diplomacy, diplomacy. Next one, trade agreement, trade agreement. Next one, military ties, military alliances, or say military ties, military alliances. Next one is foreign aid, foreign aid, foreign aid, and international sanctions, foreign aid and international sanctions, international sanctions. So these are the instruments that are used in foreign policy. Say for example, diplomacy is one instrument used in foreign policy. See, what is foreign policy? Efforts taken by a country to push its interest. Say diplomacy, so our interest was to resolve the border dispute between India and Bangladesh. So what did we indulge? Did we indulge in military, or did we indulge in diplomacy? We indulge in diplomacy. So diplomacy is one tool. So we can also indulge in military alliance. So that is, if we have to curb, say Pakistan in Bangladesh. So in 1971, Pakistan was attacking Bangladesh. How did we control that? Military alliance. Russia and India came up into one alliance in order to control Pakistan. So in order to push India's interest. So that's what. So in order to push India's interest, we can use various tools. That is your diplomacy, your military alliance, or say giving foreign aid. Now what happened? Please see here. So yeah. So this is your Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is now facing crisis. So, and India wants to, what is India's interest? India's interest is to create its dominance in the south, that is in this South Asia region. So in the Indian Ocean region, India wants to maintain dominance. So India wants to be the only power in the Indian Ocean region. So now Sri Lanka is in economic crisis. So what is India doing? India is giving them foreign aid. India is giving them aid, financial aid. So as a reason, what will happen? Sri Lanka will be closer to us. If Sri Lanka is closer to us, is our interest getting satisfied? What is our interest? India's interest is to is to maintain dominance in the Indian Ocean region. That is India's interest. So then, what is foreign policy? Taking efforts to fulfill our interest at the international level. So that is your foreign policy. So in order to fulfill our interest at international level, there are various tools. One is diplomacy, one is military alliance. We can have foreign aid, or we can also impose sanctions. India is not very powerful to impose sanctions, but whereas say US can impose sanctions. US is like super mighty powerful country. They can impose sanctions, but India usually indulges in say diplomacy, or say giving foreign aid, or say through military alliances. India tries to push its foreign policy. So below this, write down factors influencing foreign policy. Factors influencing foreign policy. So write down. First one is factors influencing foreign policy. History. History. Okay, slow. Okay. Am I really fast? Okay. Factors influencing foreign policy. First one, history, geography, history, geography, economic strength, economic strength, military capabilities, economic strength, military capabilities, domestic politics, domestic politics, international geopolitics, international geopolitics. Next point is international geopolitics. Okay, so these are the factors that influence any country's foreign policy. Say history. So historically, we were a colonial country. So please analyze here. Historically, we were colonial country. We were a colony of British. So how did India's policy, foreign policy emerge? Africa was the colonial. Africa was also colonized. So as a reason, India was also colonized. Africa was also colonized. So as a reason, now India is going closer to Africa because common history. So history also determines the foreign policy. Geography also determines the foreign policy. Say Nepal and India. Say they are. It is determined by geography. Nepal is a landlocked country, so India has to support Nepal. If India doesn't support Nepal, Nepal will move towards China. If Nepal moves towards China, so then what would happen? So China will be next to India. So as a reason, we don't want China to be next to India. So as a reason, we tend to have a very good relation with Nepal. So again, geography. So economic strength also. It foreign policy also is determined by economic strength. In the sense, say we will not take up war against mighty powers. So if say for example, if Pakistan indulges in some illegal activities, cross border terrorism, India can act against Pakistan. But if China does any land encroachment, or say any border disputes, will we act against China? We usually don't. We take up a diplomacy route over there, because China is a economical might and India is an emerging country. We don't want to indulge in China at a war level. So we usually take it up at a diplomacy level. But whereas with Pakistan, it is possible because Pakistan is not some economic might. So that is how. And similarly, military capabilities. Military capabilities also determines the foreign policy, even domestic politics. Domestic politics. So again, the war which we take up is also usually driven by the domestic politics. Say fighting against Pakistan will bring that nationalism element in it. So that will again is influenced by domestic politics. So these are the factors that influences the foreign policy. So Kautalya in his Arthashastra, so write down Kautalya in his Arthashastra. Kautalya in Arthashastra defines foreign policy as Kautalya in Arthashastra defines foreign policy as so write down within quotes, write down foreign policy of a state. Foreign policy of a state, write it with capital S. Foreign policy of a state is the management of foreign policy of a state is the management of its relations is the management of its relations with other states state with capital S, with others states in such a way in such a way as to promote in such a way as to promote its own interest, in such a way as to promote its own interest in such a way as to promote its own interest. So this is foreign policy. So in general, foreign policy is always seen from the self-centric perspective. So foreign policy is not that we need to do this global benefit. Foreign policy is always considered as a self-centric perspective. Even Kautilya's Arthashastra also says the same thing. In foreign policy, so the country has to take efforts to push its self-interest. So that has to be the first priority. That is, self interest should be the first priority in foreign policy. Is it clear? So okay, repeat. Okay, the foreign policy of a state is the management of its relations with other states in such a way as to promote its own interest. In such a way as to promote its own interest. Fine. Okay, got it. So now we'll be taking up India's foreign policy. Okay, I'll tell you how the class will go. So initially we'll be taking up India's foreign policy and its evolution from Nehru period till Modi. So how did the foreign policy emerge or say evolve in India? So we will not go in detail. So what we'll do is first we'll analyze the evolution. See here, guys. In order to have a good command over IR, see, almost all the IR questions are current affairs based. For that, if you have to write a good IR answer, you should have some broad understanding about India's foreign policy evolution. See, there is no major changes between the current Modi government vis-a-vis the previous Manmohan Singh's government, and between Manmohan Singh's government and Vajpayee's government, there is no major changes as such. So all the foreign policy in India is like a continuum. So there is no major change. Today, all of a sudden, will come and tell will not have a relation with Russia, will have only a relation with US. That is also not possible. So the foreign policy in India is an evolution. So there is no major changes between your current Modi government and the previous Manmohan Singh government. Manmohan Singh vis-a-vis Vajpayee, Vajpayee vis-a-vis Gujral vis-a-vis Narsimha Rao. So all the foreign policies are more or less the similar one. So, but who established this foreign policy? The basic foundation in India's foreign policy was established in Nehru's period. Even today, we follow, no matter what some political entities tell about Nehru. Even today's most of India's foreign policy is driven by the foundations that was laid down during Nehru's period. Is it clear? So during Nehru's period, whatever the foundations that was laid down, even today it is being followed. So don't have any political mindset over here. Please see it from the international relation perspective and think very practical, and refer Ministry of External Affairs website, not some political party speech over here. So even today we are following the Nehru's period itself. So there are some very minor changes. Apart from that, no major changes. Since independence, see, from a world's perspective, we are relatively new country. India is just 75 years old, just 75 years old. So it is not that India is a very old country, like say your England, or say US, etc., or France, etc. So these are like old countries. India is a relatively new country. So our foreign policy, there are no major changes that has taken place in our foreign policy since beginning. Whatever the foreign policy that was there, few tweaks are there. Apart from that, we are still following Nehru's Panchsheel policy. We are still following neighborhood first policy. Say in PV Narasimha Rao started lookist policy, Modi government is starting actist policy. Gujarat, IK Gujarat started neighborhood policy, that is Gujarat doctrine. Gujarat doctrine is focusing on the neighbor. Modi government is talking about neighborhood first policy. So Vajpayee government started moving closer to US. Manmohan Singh government focused on moving closer to US. Similarly, current Modi government is moving towards US. So what is happening is that in India's foreign policy, it is more or less the same continuum. Continuum in the sense the foreign policy is almost the same. Even though governments come and go, the foreign policy is more or less the maintains stability. Is it clear? So now let us understand India's foreign policy. So write down India's foreign policy. So India's foreign policy has evolved over time and shaped by the countries. So write down this. India's foreign policy has evolved over time and shaped by the country's geography, history, geography, demography, demography, economic development, demography, economic development, security, and climate change. Security and climate change. Okay, fine. So now write down the topic evolution of Indian foreign policy. Evolution of India's foreign policy. Evolution of India's foreign policy. So first one, write down Nehruvian era. Nehruvian era. Nehruvian era. So how did the foreign policy was formulated in the Nehruvian era? So write down the subheading background. Nehruvian era. This is the subheading. Write down background. Background. Okay, background. So see here, I'll explain about the background, then you can write down. See, in Nehru's period, in Nehru's period, what happened? So the background, the India's condition was not a very not very progressive. So what happened during India's independence time? That is during when Nehru was the prime minister. India had recently got independence. So we had a independence movement, and there was huge poverty. So initially there was an independence movement, and the British did not give our country in a united format. So what British did, so there were princely states were given their independence. India, the united that the remaining part of India was in one side. So we had to unite the princely states and make it into one big country. So that was the condition, that was the background. And along with that, poverty was very high. We had one famine, that is 1942-43. There was a major famine in India. So poverty was very high. At the same time, there was economic crisis. Poverty was high, economic crisis was going on, agricultural production was very very low, lack of literacy, poor literacy rate, lack of health and education facilities in India. In this background, so what was happening? World War was recently ended. That is in 1945. We got independence in 1947. World War ended in 1945. And after World War, what happened? Cold War was started. So in Cold War, countries were getting divided into either an ally of US or an ally of USSR. Both these countries were exploiting. Say for example, Pakistan became an ally of US, and Pakistan started exploiting, sorry, US started exploiting Pakistan. So this was the background. So in this background, Nehru formulated a foreign policy to push India's interest. So what was the background in Nehruvian era's foreign policy? We had recently got independence, and India, the unity of India was also questioned, because almost say 560 570 princely states were united, and many of the Western scholars were questioning India's unity, because almost say 570 princely states were united into one country. So and the next one was poverty, very high poverty, famine condition was there, lack of economic opportunities, health and education was at a terrible level. So at this was the background in India. At world level, what was happening? There was Cold War. There was the world was divided into two poles, that is your US and USSR. Countries were getting divided into US and USSR. So this was the background. In this background, we have Nehruvian era foreign policy. Is it clear? So write on background for Nehruvian era foreign policy. Nehruvian era foreign policy. First one, first point one, India had recently got independence. India had recently got independence by uniting 565 around 565 around 565 by uniting around 565 princely states, by uniting around 555 565 around 565 princely states. Full stop. Many scholars questioned the unity of India. Questioned the unity of India. Next one, right on. Next point. Economic crisis. Economic crisis hyphen high poverty level. High poverty level and lack of high poverty level and lack of foreign reserves. Forex. Lack of forex. Foreign reserves. Next one, right on. Famine condition. Next point, third point is famine condition. Famine condition affected. Condition affected many parts of India. Many parts of India. Next one, right on. Lack of self sufficiency. Lack of self sufficiency in food grains. Lack of self-sufficiency in food grains. When India got independence, we did not have adequate food with us to cater all the Indians. So we had to import even the food grains, even the basic food grains, we were not able to cultivate by ourselves. So that was the condition in which British left us. So British looted India so much so that we couldn't even cultivate our own food grains. We were forced to import it, or say we were forced to request US to send us some food grains. So that was the condition. And the next one, Cold War. Cold War, colon, Cold War, colon, this is colon, Cold War, colon, many countries, many countries got divided and allied themselves with US or USSR, allied themselves with US or USSR. Full stop. Below this, write down. In this background, Nehruvian foreign policy was framed. In this background, Nehruvian foreign policy was framed. So write down below this. Write down Nehruvian foreign policy. Nehruvian foreign policy. Nehruvian foreign policy. First point, write down. Staying neutral. Staying neutral in the conflict between staying neutral in the conflict between US and USSR. Staying neutral in the conflict between US and USSR. Full stop. India believed that non-alignment would allow it to maintain its independence. Non-alignment would allow it to maintain its independence and pursue its own national interest. And pursue its own national interest. Pursue its own national interest. Okay. So what happened during during the Cold War? So the condition was that the US and USSR were pressurizing the other countries to either ally with the one axis or the other. That is, US was pulling all the countries towards itself, and US was pulling all the countries towards itself. So if US and USSR was pressurizing the country, so what would happen? The countries, then they will not be able to focus on the domestic requirement, rather they will cater to the needs of US. See, US wants the in Cold War, what happened? US wanted to take the support of other country in order to indirectly attack USSR. Similarly, USSR wanted to take the support of other country in order to attack US. Both US and USSR did not wanted to directly engage. They wanted to indirectly attack each other. So as a reason, what happened? They used other countries as a proxies.
But in India's Nehruvian policy, what it focused was to maintain independence and ensure that this India's land would not be used as a proxy for either US or USSR. The main agenda, or say the main rationale, was that if India maintains neutrality between US and USSR, first thing is that India can focus on its domestic requirement. Second thing is that India can take support of US as well as USSR, both. So this is an advantageous position. If had India moved towards US, India could not have taken support of USSR. Had India completely moved towards USSR, India could not have taken support of US. So as a reason, what happened in during Nehru period, Nehru's foreign policy, it maintained neutrality. So as a reason, India could take support from both US and USSR. So what happened? So during Nehru period, British looted India a lot. As a reason, we had famine, we had agricultural crisis. India did not have food grains. So what during Nehru period, since Nehru maintained neutrality, since India's foreign policy maintained neutrality between US and USSR, India could get food grains from US under PL 480. PL 480 is a US government scheme. Under PL 480, India could procure food grains from US. At the same time, India was also maintaining close contact with Russia. How could India do that? Because India's stance was very clear that India will maintain neutrality. India will neither support US, India will neither support USSR, but India will focus on its interest. If India's interest is towards US, India will take support from US. If India's interest is with Russia, India will take support with USSR. So this was India's Nehruvian foreign policy. Even today, India is doing the same. That's the reason, as I told earlier, there is no major changes in India's foreign policy. If you understand Nehruvian foreign policy, even today, the current Modi government is also following the Nehruvian foreign policy. MMS, Dr. Manmohan Singh's government was also following the same Nehruvian foreign policy. Vajpayee, I.K. Gujral, Narsimha Rao, even Indira Gandhi, everyone. So the foreign policy foundation was laid down in Nehruvian era. Even today, we are following the same foreign policy. That is, even today, we are maintaining neutrality. That is, we openly never don't tell that we completely support US or we completely support Russia. So what happened in Russia Ukraine war? What did we do? Did we support Russia? No. Did we go against Russia? No. We abstained it. So as a reason, we are maintaining neutrality. We don't want to irk Russia. We neither want to irk US. So even today we are maintaining the same stance. That is neutrality. Is it clear? So any doubt till here? First, understand India's foreign policy. That's it. The overall evolution of India's foreign policy, if you understand, that should be more than sufficient. Is it clear? Okay, so right now, so next point, right now, next just understand Nehruvian foreign policy. So Nehru, if you understand Nehruvian foreign policy, even today we are still following the same Nehruvian foreign policy. Is it clear? So next point, right on, that is commitment. So next point, right on, promote India's commitment. Vanchika, since 1945. No, right on. Uh, Commitment. Promote India's commitments towards peace and anti-colonialism, towards peace and anti-colonialism, and maintain equality, Promote India's stance in promoting, yeah, maintain India's stance in promoting peace, anti-colonialism, and maintaining equality. So even today, if you consider, so this was Nehru's foreign policy. That is, we had to promote peace in the world and maintain, promote anti-colonialism. Anti-colonialism in the sense, avoid oppression. That is, the West oppressing the developing countries. That is, the West oppressing the Asia and say Western Asia, African countries. Even today, if you consider, we are still following the same thing. That is, we are promoting anti-colonialism. That is, even the Western dominance should not be over India or say any of the other countries. And even today we are promoting peace and equality. So these concepts are even valid in India's foreign policy even today. So the next one was Nehru's Panchil policy. Nehru's Panchil policy. Panchil policy, that that was the foundational principle. That was the foundational principle for bilateral relations. For bilateral relations. For bilateral relations. So what is bilateral relation? In the keyword, in the list of keywords that we saw, what is bilateralism? That is two countries coming together to push their interest. Even today, whatever the bilateral relations that we are having is based on Nehru's Panchil policy. Even today, so this Nehru's Panchil policy was the foundational principle for any of the bilateral relations between India and any country. If India wants to have any relation with any country, say XYZ, any XYZ country, India will follow this Nehru's Panchil policy. The bilateral relation of India is always guided by India's, that is Nehru's Panchil policy. What is this Nehru's Panchil policy? Panchil 5. So what are this for Nehru's Panchil for policy? First one is, write down, mutual respect, mutual respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty. Mutual respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty. So what do you mean by mutual respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty? So if both the countries, say if India and Bangladesh are coming into a relationship, it means that, so we can have a good relation only when if we have a mutual respect for territorial integrity and sovereignty. That is, we respect your territory, you respect my territory. We respect the sovereignty, your sovereignty, you respect my sovereignty. Sovereignty in the sense, the power to rule in that land. Say if this is, say India, and say if this is India and this is Bangladesh, so if we both have to come into a bilateral relation, the first principle says that mutual respect. India should respect their territory, Bangladesh territory. Bangladesh should respect India's territory, and India should respect their sovereignty. That is Bangladesh sovereignty. Bangladesh should respect India's sovereignty. That is the first thing. And the next one is non-aggression. Non-aggression, so write down, non-aggression in case of a disputes. Non-aggressions in case of a dispute. Non-aggression in case of a dispute, comma, rather resolved through diplomacy. Non-aggression in case of disputes, rather resolve through diplomacy. Rather resolve through diplomacy. Non-aggression in case of disputes, rather resolved through diplomacy. Okay, if India and Bangladesh has some disputes, so we should not indulge in aggression in the sense, war, etc. We should not indulge in aggression or war. Rather, we should have diplomacy. Through diplomacy we have to resolve the issues. That was the second Panchil policy, second point in the Nehru's Panchil policy. Right, on the third point, non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Non-interference, non-interference in each other's internal affairs. non-interference in each other's internal affairs. That is, India should not intervene in Bangladesh local politics. Bangladesh should not indulge in India's local politics. Say India should not indulge in what is happening in Pakistan. Pakistan should not indulge in what's happening in India, because we are a sovereign country. We know how to handle our issue. They are a sovereign country. They know how to handle their issue. We shouldn't be telling that what you have to do, and that country should not tell us what we have to do. Fine. So this is your non-interference in each other's internal affairs. Next one is equality and mutual benefits in a bilateral relations. Equality and mutual benefits in a bilateral relations. In a bilateral relations. Okay, so what do you mean by that equality and mutual benefits? If India and Bangladesh are engaging with each other, India should not portray itself as very big and try to suppress Bangladesh. We have to treat in terms of equality. Say this is India, this is Bangladesh. If India and US are indulging with each other in a bilateral relationship, US should not portray itself as very big. So if there is a bilateral relation with India, then we should follow equality and mutual benefits. Equality, first let us understand what is equality. Both the countries should consider themselves as equal to one another. If India is engaging with Bangladesh, India should not feel very superior. If India should engage with US, India should not feel very inferior. Even though US economy is almost say 7-8 times bigger than us, so we should not feel that the US is a big entity. So Bangladesh economy is smaller than India, so it should not, we should not be feeling that India is superior. No, in a bilateral relationship it has to be guided by equality. And the next one, mutual benefits. In a bilateral relationship, both the entities should get benefited. Both India should also get benefited, and the opposite other country should also get benefited. So if India and US is engaging, India should also get benefit, US should also get benefit. So that is the next point in the Nehru's Panchsheel policy. And the last point in Nehru's Panchsheel policy is peaceful coexistence. So write down peaceful coexistence. Peaceful coexistence. Peaceful coexistence. Clear? Okay. So peaceful coexistence in a sense, not indulging in war, etc. So that is called as a peaceful coexistence. So this is the broad foreign policy during Nehru's period. Now let us see the Nehru's foreign policy with respect to region specific. Second one. Yeah, yes. Similar, Chandan. So now let us see Nehru's foreign policy with respect to region specific. So in 1950s, during Nehru's period, there was no major globalization as such. So globalization was not a big thing during Nehru's period. So but the countries were focusing on the regional level. India was not a big player during 1950s to focus on the global level. So what India was doing was to India was a very new country, very new. We had recently got independence in 1947. So we are a very new country. We were a very new country. So India could not think at the global scale. So what India was doing was maintaining a good relationship at the local level, at the regional level. So that is your Asian relationship. Write down. Write down. Next one. Write down. Asian relationship. Write on this subheading. So below this, write down. Nehru played Nehru played a key role in promoting. Nehru played a key role in promoting solidarity among in promoting solidarity among Asian and African in solidarity among Asian and African nations, Asian and African nations, and advocating advocating for decolonization, decolonization, independence, decolonization, independence, and cooperation and cooperation. Below this, write on India China relations. India China relation initially India China relations initially saw cooperation initially had cooperations. India China relations initially had cooperations with the signing of with the signing SAGN with the signing of with the signing of Panchsheel agreement with the signing of Panchsheel agreement in 1954. However, however, due to border disputes, however, due to border disputes in the later part, however, due to border disputes in the later part, the relationship, the Indo-China relationship, Indo-China relationship deteriorated, 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 and culminated into a war, and culminated into a war, culminated into a war in 1962. Culminated into a war in 1962. Okay. So first understand what was India's policy in the Asian region. So Asia, since India in Asia also, many of the Southeast Asian countries, say even Afghanistan or Pakistan, etc. So these countries had recently had just got independence during Nehru's period, and even Africa, or in many countries in Africa, we are also getting independence during this period. So as a reason, what happened? Nehru played a very important role, a crucial role in bringing these two entities together. That is, the countries in Asia and countries in Africa together. And Nehru was one of the important personality who advocated decolonialization, promoting independence and cooperation among these countries. So Nehru played a very important, Nehru in the sense India, that is India played a very important role in this aspects. But however, so what happened at Asian level, China was one of the big player in 1940, during 1950s. China was one of the big player. So we had a very good relation with China in the initial phase. In 1954, India signed a Panchsheel agreement with China. So we were very close, but due to border disputes, this relationship got deteriorated, and in 1962, India and China faced a war. So India was close allies with most of the South Asian countries, but with respect to China, India did not have a close relation. Also, India's foreign policy was not favorable towards China. Is it clear? So fine. Okay. So next one, write down. So non NAM, non-alignment movement. NAM, non-alignment movement. NAM, non-alignment movement. India's foreign policy. So below this, right now, I'll take 2 minutes extra. Is it okay? 2 minutes extra. We'll wind up after NAM. We'll wind up the class. So in okay NAM. So write down on of India's foreign policy promoted NAM. India's foreign policy promoted NAM, non-alignment movement, and Nehru was instrumental in this. And Nehru was instrumental in this. Nehru was instrumental in this. It advocated. It advocated. It advocated the interest of it advocated the interest of the developing countries, interest of the developing countries, and sought to address the issues and sought to address the issues like decolonization, economic inequality, decolonization, decolonization, disarmament, disarmament, and rights of smaller nation and rights of smaller nation in the international forum and rights of smaller nation in the international forum. Fine. Okay, just 2 minutes of explanation about NAM. So NAM is an NAM, non-alignment movement. So in 1961, see, Nehru was a supporter of decolonization. In 1950s to 1960, Nehru played a crucial role in supporting the decolonization movement in Africa and Asia. And Nehru's foreign policy was to bring these two entities together, that is Asian countries and African countries together, who are underdeveloped, so together at a global forum. So only then these underdeveloped countries, or say these colonized countries, could voice their issues at the global forum. And who was pioneer in this? Nehru was pioneer in this. So India's foreign policy was mainly focusing on bringing these countries from Asia and Africa together in order to raise their issues regarding various things. So how could this was made possible? So in 1961, Nehru was very instrumental in forming something called as non-alignment movement. This is something to UN. It is a grouping. It is an international grouping. Non-alignment movement is an international grouping, like say G20, or say your UN. It's an international grouping. It is an international grouping of all the countries that was recently decolonized. So the all these countries together came together to form some international grouping called as non-alignment movement. The aim of this non-alignment movement was to control the economic inequality, provide justice to these decolonized countries, and ensure that the smaller nations do get their voice heard at the international forum. So this was non-alignment movement, and it was mainly pioneered by Nehru. So this was India's foreign policy during the Nehru times. Is it clear? Fine. Okay. Okay. Remaining things will be taking up tomorrow then. Fine. Yeah. Write down global diplomacy. So just write down one point, global diplomacy. Fine. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. Chalo. Thank you.